Hope you're having a great day. I want to do a quick video and talk to you about this piece of equipment here. This is what it's called a bench pin. And it is used in conjunction with saws, files, and other things that you use when working with metal. And this thing right here, it eluded me for a couple of weeks on how in the heck I was supposed to get this to fasten to the edge of this desk right here where I work. So after a couple of weeks of trying everything I could figure out with this clamp, and this shows you here that my brain does not work mechanically. However, so when my roommate came home, I said, look, I need some help. How does this thing supposed to work? Well, it was so simple that I felt like such a fool, but you simply, when you buy it, it comes in these two pieces. So what you have to do is just simply poke this up through here and then turn it around just like this. And then you can push it down into that groove so that it sits firm. And then you can take it and unscrew the little clamp screw. Now on my desk I have a drawer right here, but it still works out really well. Let me pull my camera forward just a little bit. It's still fastened under here. So I just take the clamp, put it under like that, and then just tighten the screw up. Now I got to tell you, I was utterly in shock at how crazy I was for not being able to figure this out. Let me make sure I'm turning this the right way. So by the way, this screw clamp is lefty-tighty, righty-loosey. So once you get it all screwed on there nice and tight, just like that right there, it will stay firmly in place. It's so you can saw and do other things with your working with metal jewelry. So isn't that interesting? It only took me 2 weeks of turning it every which way under the sun to try to figure out how to get this thing to clamp down. But once I did, I was very happy, and you can see here on the edge that I have already been using it a little bit. So the bench pin itself costed me around $8 off of Amazon. And the way that I try to be frugal when I'm shopping for new tools and things like that, especially on Amazon, is I try to wait until I've got enough money together and, I have my mindset on at least enough things to get to qualify me for the free shipping, because I don't pay for Prime. But, so I didn't have to pay for shipping because I ordered a couple of pairs of pliers or other tools with it. And so it really only wound up costing me the $8.97 or $7.97, whichever it was. So that was a pretty good deal. And I'm really happy with it. It works really good for my purposes for now. At some point in my life, I would love to get me one of those anvil bench pins. But for right now, and for my purposes, that is a great way to start with trying to learn how to work with metals. So, of course, then I needed to get a saw, a jewelry saw. And so this is the Artistic Wires jewelry saw. And I got this over at Hobby Lobby. You can see the price right there says $19.99. But if you sign up for Hobby Lobby's emails, every week you get a 40% off coupon. So I actually saved 40% off of that money right there. So it wound up costing me about $13, I think, roughly. So anyhow, and it's pretty nice. It's really sturdy, and it's weighted and everything here, so it works out really good. And it also came with 36 blades. It came with 12 of the number 1 blades, 12 of the number 2s, and 12 of the number 3s. And instructions on how to put the blades into the saw here on the back. So the thing to know about these saw blades, now actually these, the number 1s are actually the 1-O's, if you can see that there, and 2-O and 3-O. And those numbers are the size of the blade. And what they're relevant for is to the gauge of sheet metal or metals that you can use these on, to saw through. So the number 1 blades, or the 1-O blades, they saw through 18 to 22 gauge metal. The 2-O's are for 20 to 22 gauge, And then these 3-O's are for 24 gauge and thinner. So I'm going to do a blog post about all of this, and so in there I will include the chart that gives you the information about the size of the saw blade and the metal gauges that they work for. So according to some of the classes that I take on Craftsy, you can use the number 2 blade as a go-to blade for most of your projects, unless you're got some really thicker gauge metals. Which right now, pretty much all the sheet metal that I have so far is 24 gauge. So the number 2s are going to work good, and they'll be a little bit less likely to break than the number 3s. So I'm going to show you guys how to put on the number 2 blade. So when you get your blades, you're going to have these little wires wrapped around them like that to hold them together. So you can just loosen it up and pull one of your blades out like that. Then tighten it back up. And I'm going to go ahead and get mine put back away in this cute little plastic thing that they came in. And I've been just keeping them right inside the inner box that my whole complete set came in. So once you have your blade out, then you need to figure out how it loads into your frame. So the first thing you'll do is you'll realize that you can take your finger and rub along both sides of the blade, that there is a smooth side back here. So that side actually sits inside the frame, facing towards me in this instance. And then you'll need to figure out which way the teeth are running. So to do that, just take your finger and you go down the blade like so. Now, you'll feel the little teeth, but what you want to find is you want the teeth to point downward. So I need to make sure that when I'm rubbing my finger along that I can feel the teeth catching my skin in the upward stroke and not the downward stroke. Because you want the teeth to face down towards the bottom of the saw frame. Like that. So once I figure that out, I'm going to lay the blade down on my desk here facing the proper way with the smooth side back towards my saw. My teeth are facing downwards towards me, and my saw frame is right here. So then the next thing you're going to do is unscrew these little wing nuts here to loosen up where you actually are going to place the blade in the saw. So now that I have my blade set the way I want it, I know I can pick it up and I can turn it just like this. And that is going to have my teeth facing downwards and and outwards towards the top here, or actually on the outside of my frame. So once I have that done, I'm going to slide the blade down into this little grooved notch here that opens up when I unscrewed that little screw. There's 2 little metal plates here that screw is loosening and tightening. You can see them right there. So I'm going to go ahead and tighten that one up. I'm going to hand tighten it nice and tight. And it's in. Now I've got it in there. So now I'm going to work on this bottom end. So I'm going to open up the little section here, and if you need to, you can adjust the frame right here. So let me just show you that really quick. So this little screw right here loosens up, and then this bar of your saw frame will slide downwards and outwards like that. And so you'll want to make sure that that is in a position to where your blade sits firmly into that metal, between those 2 metal plates. So I need it to come out just a little bit here. And I'm going to check again. And so now you can see that the blade slides right down in there. And that's in a good position. So now I need to tighten that one back up. So let's tighten it up. Really nice and tight. Just good hand tightening will work. Then I'm going to take this part right here, and I'm going to put it on the edge of my desk. And I'm going to push my chest up against the handle of this blade like this, or the handle of the saw like that. So now I've got my chest pushed there, and I've got the bottom nut sitting against the edge of my desk. So let me push forward so we can see what we're doing. So now I'm going to get my little screw open, and then I'm going to put the blade in where it goes. Then I'm just going to go ahead and tighten that screw up. Now to check the tension of your blade, you take your finger and listen for a plink. And you want it to plink like a nice little plinking sound, not a plunking sound. And if it doesn't plink, you'll want to tighten it up a little bit more, and you may need to adjust the tension on your frame just a little bit more. Then the next thing you want to check is to make sure that the blade is straight this way, so that it's perpendicular with the bottom part of the frame here. And one last thing you're going to need, besides obviously some metal to saw, is this another piece of equipment or supply here that's called cut lube. And this is the Euro Tool cut lube in the 2-ounce size. And I got this also off of Amazon, and it was about $10. And you just, when you open it up and take the lid off, you can see that it's this waxy looking substance inside here. And to use it, it's got a little push up here on the bottom. So it just slides up and down just like this. So now it's up above the lip of the plastic here. And if I want to push it back down, I can just push it with my finger like that. But you can see that it gets really waxy and crumbly, and it does make a little bit of a mess. But what you do to use it is push it up, and then you just have to brush it along your saw blade. And you put quite a bit on there. And that just helps your blade to slide through the metal easier and give you a little bit less chance that your blade will snap. Now, these blades snap pretty easy, and when you're first learning, don't get discouraged if you snap some blades, because I've already broken 3, and I've really only just started working with metal. And so, yeah, I decided I'm not going to stress out over breaking those blades, that I will just get some more when I need to. But those are the 3 things that you're going to need if you want to start working with sheet metal and making, shapes of your own. You need a bench pin of some sort, a jeweler's saw, and some different size blades. And you're going to need some cut lube. All right, folks, so that is where we're at right now. So let's take a little break and we'll move forward. So now let's see what it looks like to actually work with some sheet metal. So I've got a piece of 24 gauge copper here. And I got this in a little small pack of sheet metal over at Michael's. So in the pack, which this is just the baggie of it, but anyhow, in the pack were 4 pieces of sheet, 24 gauge. And it was $20, but once again, I used like a coupon for a certain percentage off. I don't remember exactly what percent, but inside there was a sheet of brass, which you can see I've been using that up quite a bit. These 2 sheets they're also brass, because you can see on the inside edge here where I've cut these, that they are actually brass underneath this double cladding plate that they've put on there to make it this shiny silver. And then there was the sheet of copper. And so to get started, I want to talk about a couple of other little quick things. But if you're going to be cutting straight lines, you don't really need to use your jeweler's saw for that. You can use metal shears. And these are like $10. And once again, I used a coupon and got them for about $6. And they are just ones I got over at Hobby Lobby, and they're pretty nice. The first pair I got at Michael's was broken, and I took them back. And I got this pair, which I like a lot better. So I'm going to show you guys how to saw out a little shape. I'm going to try to do this heart for you. But to get started, I'm just going to cut a piece off that's, big enough for my little heart shape right there. So I'm going to use these little snips, and I'm just going to snip down through the sheet like that. Then I'm going to snip over until my 2 little corners meet. And there I have that little piece cut out like that. So I'm done with my little metal shears here, and I was going to stick them back in my toolbox. And I don't know if you guys watched my little crazy little studio video, but still working with that crazy little studio. And then one thing I wanted to mention to you about the bench pin is that to use the bench pin, you're going to need a surface where you have a slight lip on your work surface, like a table or a desk. It just has to be, far enough for you to get your bench pin up under there nice and firm, and it has to have a flat surface underneath in order for this piece to screw onto. So I'm going to move mine back up here where I'm actually working right now, and I'm going to tighten it back up. Then I'm going to slide my tripod forward a little bit, and hopefully you guys can see what I'm doing. So get it nice and tight, make sure it doesn't wiggle. And because I have such problems with my hands, it's hard for me to get things really tight just by hand turning. But that's going to have to work for now. So I'm going to move some of these little items out of my way so I can slide this forward. And get you guys a little bird's eye view of what I'm doing. So here's my little piece of copper, and here's my little cutout heart. And because I don't have a glue stick, I'm just going to use this little fine point Sharpie for now. I am getting a glue stick, and it's on my shopping list for things I need to continue working with metal. Definitely going to get a glue stick, so that when you make a template out of paper or whatever, you can glue it down to your metal. Because as you'll find out really quick, which I found out already, is that even though I'm using a Sharpie marker here, as I saw and manipulate this metal in my hand, that Sharpie does get wiped off. So let me just go ahead and draw out my little heart with my fine tipped Sharpie. And give that a couple of seconds to let the ink dry. So when I get ready to saw on this piece of metal, I'm going to get my body at a good angle. And I want to be where I can work with this slot and this hole in my bench pin. Now to get started, you're just going to have to give yourself a little bit of leeway to learn how to start. And you're just going to have to just start in until you actually get a good groove going. Then you can pull your saw straight up and down like that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to get up here to my line, like that. Then I'm going to saw in place as I turn my piece of metal. And then I'm just going to follow my lines, like that. And keep sawing in place as I try to make these curves. And up and down and up and down. Now, you'll also be figuring out pretty soon that you only have teeth right in the center, most center portion of your saw blade. So just keep going. Saw in place as I manipulate and turn. I can turn my saw handle as well once I get inside this center circle up here on my bench pin. So I'm going to pick it up and move it around a little bit. Just get it where I want it. And then we'll come on around. To the point of my little heart, like that. Now, I shouldn't have done that. So I got myself positioned around. Now I need to make this sharp turn right here. So I'm going to saw in place and turn this metal with my fingers. So just give me a second, and just like that. So now I can come up around to the other part of my circular heart shape here. And here's where I've lost a little bit of my line. Okay. Come on around. Slowly up and down. If you feel like you're getting into the wood of your bench pin, just pull it out a little bit. And just keep coming around. And see how I've lost that line on my on my template. And I'm just going to wing it from here just because I'm just trying to show you an example of how to saw. I'm coming on around, and now I need to come straight down towards the point of my little heart down there. And once I get there, I'm going to round it up over here to this side, just like that. And now I have finished my little saw. And here's my little heart. And it is by no means perfect, but I am just learning. And I just wanted to make a point of showing you guys how, yeah, it's frightening to get started with something new, but don't be afraid. Just go ahead and tear in there, get some cheaper metals like I have here, and just start practicing. So now I've got this cute little shape cut out. And yeah, it really doesn't look great, but you know, like I said, I'm going to need a glue stick so that I can pinpoint my accuracy a little bit more on my lines. But when I take this off and put my little template back on, you can see that I did really good on cutting my metal to the shape of the template that I cut, because you don't really see much paper hanging over the edge of that. So now, in order to work on straightening this up and making it look better, you have a lot of different options. And I'm just going to tell you what they are right now, because this is getting to be a little bit long, and maybe I'll do a separate video on, you know, refining our shape. But you can use for that several things like files, sandpapers, sanding sticks, and also a Dremel or other brand name of a rotary tool, and some of the actual grinding accessories that will actually remove metal. And so we could shape that up and file it down and make it look a lot nicer. All right. So you can see that I've come in here and I'm using my files, and I've also used my shears, just the tip of my shears, to start refining my shape. And you can tell that already I've got it looking quite a bit better. And it just has, now this is the part that takes time. And, you know, you can't really, unless you're like supremely super good, you might be able, and once you practice, of course, you'll do better and better each time. But, you know, the hand refining is the part that I find the most relaxing anyways, and I really enjoy it. So these files are called diamond files because they're made with a diamond coating here on the actual filing surfaces. And with this type of file, you can file in both directions. And so I like to start with these when I'm refining, because I can actually get a lot more of my metal to remove where I'm trying to refine my shape. And then when it comes to smoothing, I switch over to these other files right here. And these are number 2s, I think, that I ordered offline. They're Euro tool. And the higher the number, the finer the grit. So the number 2s would not be as fine as number 4s, for example. But for right now, number 2s are all I have in these diamond files, because I am just slowly trying to build up my tools that I'm going to use for these types of projects. And it gets really expensive really quick with these files. I mean, with these tools. So what I decided to do was to pick some of the midway tools to start with. Like, you know, a number 1 removes metal a lot faster than a number 2. But, you know, a number 2 can be used for, you know, refining as well as removing metal. So it takes a lot of research, and I'm trying to help you guys out by doing some of the research. I can tell you from experience where to start and how to get started in the most economical way. And that's the whole goal of why I do these, you know, tool videos and things like that. All right, folks, so that's it for today. I'm going to keep working on my little piece and see how far I can get it to refine, and then we'll get onto more of this metalworking tools in another video. But you guys have a great day, and thanks for watching.